And some of the old stocks are vehicles that are having
that come
high
in
emission.
our that yes exactly they created more of those emission, those GSG emission. So they are changing those. Industry are changing right now. Technology is advancing. I'll give you a typical example. Your light bulbs you're using, your appliances here, they moved into the area whereby the consumption, someone emit less nowadays. I was intrigued when I went to Ghana. Today in Ghana, before in the appliance, electronic store and appliances, there is a sticker that the government issue or stick on those goods
Okay.
to certify that they are environmentally friendly and they emit less before you can sell them
Okay.
in Accra. They got a yellow sticker there. So around the world, if you travel in Asia, the technology have advanced so much. So people are adapting. For us in Liberia, it presents an opportunity. The opportunity it presents to us is that the whole world now created this pool fund because of the impact of climate change. Analysis came about to say that we need about $6 trillion,
$6 trillion to do
over the
what?
next 5 to 10 years to be able to change all of the models. The existing model, business as usual, government change their behavior in terms of how to their policy and all that kind of thing. They need about $6 trillion investment to reverse, because there is a target. We need to be at 1.5 degrees Celsius, then we're okay. If we don't do that, if we don't invest that money, right, across the globe, we will be on the pathway to hitting 4 degrees Celsius.
And once you hit 4 degrees Celsius, what
It's bad.
happens?
Imagine that you are 1.00 degree Celsius and you're having this pattern. If you hit, I just gave you a study that said if we hit 2 degrees in Africa, we will be losing, our agricultural productivity will be losing anywhere around $50 billion per year. If you hit 4 degrees, you're losing $100 billion. What that means is that your land, your productivity, your soil, and all is going to be so hot that it's going to cause problem. And not only in Africa. Imagine if it happened all around the world. While at the same time, your population is growing exponentially, as is predicted, right? So you need to balance that out. It will create full insecurity and full crisis, which eventually will have impact on health. And then the ripple effect will start to feed that. But the opportunity that we have, like I say again, climate change presents challenge, at the same time, greater opportunity. And the greater opportunity for us in Liberia is that over the next 5 years around the world, you're going to have countries are mobilizing up to $6 trillion. To date, how much have they mobilized? About $632 billion, right? According to Climate Policy Initiative. It's a think tank climate group in the world that funded by OECD and other developing countries to keep statistics on this. Okay. So the research showed now towards the $6 trillion. Last year alone, they mobilized $632 billion. What that means is that we in Liberia who need money, our development is at an embryonic stage. We are not middle income country yet. We are trying to put all of the different development fundamental in place. Road, construction, electricity, generation, distribution, and transmission, as far as pipe-borne water, all of the different things we are trying to put into place. Our health sector, our agriculture activities, still we are not mechanized. We still import, we will transition. So we're still at a very embryonic stage of development, right? And we're still trying to put a fundamental in place. It is good for us to take, while we're doing this, to not make the mistakes that other countries made in the past in terms of building something that is not going to be productive and that's going to cause more harm to us then good in this age where we need to be environmentally friendly. So our conversation, both development nationally, subnationally, and at a district level, we need to start to figure out how to factor, a kind of infrastructure that's going to be resilient, that's going to make us to cope with the reality. Example, people, the farmers, we are trying to develop our agriculture sector. This is the time we need to figure out two things. One, how do you move the people from upland farming to a lowland integrated farming?
The one you call the swampland.
Yes. We need our agriculture program need to be able to take into consideration of that. It's easier for you to be in the lowland because the irrigation system, right? You can easily manage the water table, the groundwater, and manage it properly. The second thing is, by leaving the upland farming, you are going to allow a conservation approach and expand your carbon stock in terms of forests, and which again have a very good positive feedback when it comes to building your resilience, right? In the world that we live in.
Okay.
The other piece of it is that we also need to begin the Environmental Protection Agency under the leadership of Professor Wilson Tappet, continue to endeavor to talk about the conservation of the wetlands, right? It will amaze you. There is a study that we're working on right now, some colleagues of mine and I. We note that a hectare of mangrove, a hectare of mangrove.
Yeah, the ones that have been cut down by the people.
Yeah, a hectare of mangrove over 20 to 25 years, one tree can give you up to 1.5 million CO2 tons equivalent ton.
What is the benefit?
Let me tell you the benefit.
Because
But
when
carbon
I was
credit.
asking you earlier,
Yeah.
you were talking about the effect of climate change and the benefit to the country.
Yes.
Is that what you're driving to now?
Exactly.
Okay.
Because I told you that climate change presents an opportunity. So one, there's a lot of money out there, out in the world. The second thing is even for people in the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning and other places, right? Those who negotiate. Every time you go out, our conversation with our traditional development partners, right? Continue to shift every now and then and evolve around climate change. Most time.
Okay.
The reason is these countries are looking up to us who hold a great asset that they can benefit to mitigate their action. They're looking at us to help in mitigating the global issue. So most time they approach us and they bring, when you go there for loan, if you go there for other things, they will try to drill you through and bring you all around your issue of your climate action, how you doing it, and how you going to, how you proceeding. Can they have a conversation with you around that? That's a greater opportunity for us. The reason for that because we have one of the best assets that we look for in the climate change business, which is forester. So forest and how many of your mangroves and all of that. The reason is because those assets help to mitigate, they sequestrate. In other words, their carbon credit are coming from them. So Liberia should be able to start to figure out how your forest you're conserving now can be used as a new revenue stream, new revenue avenue,
Okay.
either for national government as well as communities. Because let me tell you today,
In the community dwellers are saying, if these resources are extracted from the areas, they do benefit national government benefits, and their areas are left in ruins, and they are left with these environmental degradation in their areas. How do we factor them into the benefits that have been accrued by the government?
the good thing is after COP26 in Glasgow, the decision in terms of global standards of how forestry community is supposed to benefit, right, are already in place in terms of the engagement with forestry community.
Okay.
For example, I will give a mangrove as a typical example. So you go to Peace Island and get a hectare of a mangrove, right?
Yeah.
You got a hectare covered with mangrove. And you go and a company come in and say, okay, look, I need a hectare. They're going to invest somewhere around $2-3 million to make it good. That 2-3 million they're investing is, you look at the community, the people living in that area, right?
Yeah.
What do they do? First thing, people living around the mangrove, how they cooking? You want to really engage them. The standards now says that there is a percentage. Any company or any person who's going to give you money for your carbon credit, they're going to ensure, first of all, that certain percentage going directly to the community that they organize properly. And the development that need to go around it. The people who you're going to sell the credit to, they will ensure that such development takes place. You know the reason why?
No.
Because if they put their money in terms of conservation and making sure, right? If they don't ensure that the people residing around that mangrove area are protected and they are satisfied and they own that kind of investment, they will destroy it.
Okay.
Because they will cut the trees down. You need those species to stand so that it yield a benefit. To date, a carbon credit, so one tree maybe over 20 years give you 1.5 carbon credit. Let me just put it there for simplicity, right? 1.5 million carbon credit, and one over 25 years. So for mangrove, so if you take at the rate, the carbon credit is somewhere around 25 $30. So argument say take it for $20. So you multiply $20 times 1.5 million for 20 years. That's what a single tree going to yield.
Okay.
The government will get a percentage that comes to them direct. The community will get a share, and then the bottom, those who invest in that will get it. So it's that kind of standard that's already set for COP26.
Okay.
So in other words, it presents for us what we need to do as a government and as a people is take a deliberate action and not, EPA trying to cry, oh, we need to start calling. But we need to get to this community and let them know that, look, replant these mangrove, don't build there, please move and find real work for them. You hire them to replant mangrove, you hire them to man the mangrove, you hire them to be able, if the wood, you find an alternative way. So one of the alternative ways is if people get electricity, affordable electricity at an affordable rate and reliable, consistently, it is most likely certain that they can use other cooking things that relate to electricity than using the firewood.
Okay.
Okay? So
And
it's
then
all kinds
those
of
other
stuff.
mechanisms will be what?
Yeah. Like,
The use of the electric
you
stove?
electric stove, you can use something that just that alternate.
Okay.
Right?
All right, Jeremiah Sokan, I don't want to take you long on this. We've gone almost 35, 40 minutes on this
I can take the
environment.
rest of it.
And
I can take the whole,
but again, we
whole time
value you
going into that.
in two folds,
All right.
political and other environmental.
Yeah.
And I'm pleased to announce to the people that again, I'm in the island with Jeremiah Sokan. He is a former representative candidate of Grand Jury County, and he's a scientist by profession. Let me say welcome to my friend and brother, Mr. David Siafa Masakwe, the man who is fresh from Singapore. He is the director of education for the Salvation Army school system in Liberia and Seoul Command. Let me bring in a bit of politics. Mr. Sokan,
I expected that.
I know you. You have contested before, and you want to get into politics, even though you are an environmentalist and a focal person on climate change in Liberia. But let me hear you. What do you make of the governance process in our country? The other time,
Yeah.
with what is being seen as improvement in our democracy, the U.S. government, through Joe Biden, has invited President George Weah to go to the African Leadership Forum. And all of that. And again, he was invited to the Democracy Forum in America, but he spoke through visual stuff. What do you make of all our democratic credentials? How do you create a George Weah government in the first place?
Thank you. Let me, from my end, I will give the Weah administration A. And
What? You creating what?
A.
A.
Yes.
The
And
letter
let me-
A.
Yes.
Okay.
And let me take this step. Let me first of all disclose. I think, except the continent of Antarctica, I've visited almost every continent in the world today.
You visited all.
All. Okay. And they afforded me the opportunity not only to read on paper, but to interact with people.
And see for yourself.
Yes, and see for myself. Right. So I've seen development of, different sizes and, But overall, first is what I've observed across the world. I've never seen a country, no matter how developed it is, that is problem free. In other words, the people have opinions,
Okay.
right? From one minute administration to another. But that's normal. That's what makes us human. And that's why we have human system. No matter how good you are, no human system is perfect. And so, because it's shy of perfection, you're going to have divergence of view on some things. You're going to have somebody say something, and not everybody just flocking in one direction with praises. So that's normal. Agree to that. So, I said that this administration, one, and my school uses few things. One, peace.
Peace.
You will not do anything, whether personally, collectively, if there is no reliable peace and stability all around the world.
And so peace is the first
So that's the
instrument
very first
being
thing.
used.
In every society. I mean, I tell you, a society that is developed and chaotic,
You won't go there.
you can see nobody wants to go there, nobody living, nobody can move around freely. So peace, the stability of peace, the movement of people and goods and services freely in and out, the freedom of expression, those are the inalienable rights and aspect of any solid society and serve as a substratum upon which a nation development base. Okay, so one of the key things that make me to believe and give that grade is because in the absence of foreign assistance in terms of security, ECOWA, ECOMO, how we call them, the
United
UNMIL,
Nations, yeah.
all of those things. Under the We administration, we manage this apparatus by ourselves,
Without an all-meal.
without any outside. Now one day,
Unlike the past where we have
they are
18,000
present.
strong
They were
presence of
present,
all-meal.
and they were a part of conversation. Then I had the opportunity to have been part of conversation at the highest level, right? And we saw the presence of the people in the room. Nowadays, we meet ourselves and handle things. So that's a plus. And you never see one day that a foreign group had to rush in to stabilize anything. And we can pat ourselves on the back. Okay? All of us as Liberians understood clearly, and we are keeping this peace together. And so that one key criteria for me. Two is trying to institutionalize certain things,
Okay.
right? Institution building. I see gradually that our government institutions are kind of strengthening up by certain policy being into place. One of the few policies that I saw that is in place was daunting task, and this administration successfully did, is the stabilization of payroll. We used to call it ghost. Then when the exercise were being carried out from previous administration, we used to joke about it. Take time so that the ghost don't carry you. So you can't turn the ghost while you're trying to clean the whole system of ghosts, right? But today that is history. We see a gradual and a total and a crystal clear system that a little bit look, realistic in terms of who are on, payroll, who are civil servants, and who in the public sector, the compensation in that. It leads to what I call stable regular and frequent kind of payment on time, sometimes in time. So you saw that policy, that harmonization is key. We continue to see systematic and gradual institutionalization on the political front. I continue to see that Liberians are making frantic effort to consolidate our democracy. We got a coalition for democratic change now that is a conglomeration of certain political ideology on aligning, and we see another that is forming, though struggling. But the most important thing for me is that you see, we come into a place where we are building institutional gradually. Institution that will not only focus on individual, but will be driven by ideology and philosophy. That is taking shape gradually. Evidence to that is we're seeing successful election held without problem. We had the 2020 election, prior to that, a couple of by-elections, and then 2020 election, then a by-election. And all of these processes, at the end of the day, you saw that the result, though in everything you will argue, but at the end of the day, we all flock together as Liberians and accepted the leaders that were elected and move forward. So you see, our democracy is maturing. We are almost out of the woods in terms of democratic maturity. Our population and our leaders and everyone else. Less that you hear people argue so much of, oh, they cheated me, this is not fair. We are accepting the fact that in every competition, there got to be a winner, and there will be a loser. And then if you don't happen to be fortunate today, that doesn't mean you will not be tomorrow. But you got to move on. So you see the maturity.
So it comes to you.
Yeah, exactly.
You
exactly.
contested in the recent election in Grand County.
I mean, 2017, 2021, right? And gracefully. So that's
you lost the election.
Yeah.
Many people thought that you, Jeremiah, so have been disgruntled and say, I don't accept the result. I want to go to the court for a recount. But you accepted that, even though you come and you are a supporter of the ruling.
Because I believe in every, my team knows me about this. I always told them that election is a competition. You expect that you got to go with two options. And one will come out of the two options.
Of course.
You don't get it.
But you didn't get it.
And so
it's either yes or no process.
Yes. So you cannot. And so for me, that's what it is. Look, all my life I've been involved from student politics to community politics. Okay? All throughout. From all, even in the large community politics I got involved with in the states when I served as Secretary General of the Nigeria Association, right? Very contested election. Very much. I mean, controversial. We had, for us to take office, we had to go to court. That's how contentious it was.
And who was the veto at the time?
We ended up to be, then that's how I became the Secretary General. So I am a person who have never had anything on a silver platter. I'm a fighter. But the other point though, objectively, I compete. And
you
if I don't
compete
get it,
objectively.
yeah, and if I don't get it, there's another day. I always say there is a tomorrow. But don't misunderstand the fact.
Your story tells me about the Georgia scenario where he contested 2005, he didn't win it. 2011, he felt cheated. He said, I would not compete in this election. And Madam Sally went unopposed. She won. And later he became president after all of those in 2017.
Let me tell you something. Everything has time. And to all, there is a season. Let no man mistake or mistaken for anything. That because a couple of hours ago you were ahead And so you are super? No. It just take a couple of seconds for you to sit in the seat of which you started. You got to recognize that. So a person losing today, and you got to worry about that, because tomorrow, I mean, you got to be prepared that tomorrow will not be your time. And so it is. All of us will have our shared time at the appropriate time. You know, and that's what democracy is all about. So I said that this administration is doing well, and I think our democracy is maturing. So the peace and the maturing democracy in Liberia, for me, I attribute 80% of my scoring to that. The reason for that, governance will take root when the people can freely elect and fire whoever their servants are. And Liberia present a very good credential when it comes to that now. We build a credential, almost an enviable credential now, to understand in the region. We successfully had major elections here, and we're moving ahead. People were elected, and people were not elected, and those who were elected then, they got kicked out. Everybody moving. So the power is now in the people. You can see it clearly. With that power, nothing that we cannot do together. Because if a Sukan is elected today, and it's one thing to have the zeal, the will. But what is fundamentally important, it is the knowledge and the know-how for you to deliver. So if you're not delivering, it's not a bunch of rhetorics that's going to make people to get you back.
Now, Mr. Sukan.
You know? And so this administration did not, and it is not, just talking rhetorics. There are evidences around as to the real impactful intervention, visible activities that impact lives. You know, that we see. So for me, I think this government is sailing well, and I have no doubt that this administration needs to continue for the next
But
couple of
you're
sessions.
talking about democracy, the rule of law, and all of those. But one factor that keep us together is a factor to accept whosoever comes in power
That's
and whosoever
a
leaves.
maturing
maturing democracy. But again, there's this issue of
Observing
exclusion,
all the tendency of-
exclusionary tendency in government. Now, Charles Taylor was president of the country.
Yeah.
He left the presidency. His supporters,
Yeah.
who work within the government, were never factored by the Judy Bryant government, who was an interim government. And those who worked for Judy Bryant were not factored by the Ellen Johnson Sirleaf government. Some of them were witch hunted and said they were thieves, they were rogues, they were criminals.
Yeah.
And then they went to court to declare their names. Take for example, the Evan Snow,
Yeah.
who was accused of thievery, but the court proved him wrong, say, hey, Mr. Snow is not a thief. And the court set our record straight. Then come the George Weah government, comes in, and some of the Ellen people are not in government, and they think that every time this is a wrong tendency we are heading to, that every succeeding government should include other people. Where lies this inclusion theory that will unite Liberians and will move as one?
Let me tell you something, right? There are a few things. I think it's good for our fellow Liberians to understand. Like I said to you, I've traveled around the world, except the continent of Antarctica, right? Here where you need to look at public sector. Public sector is really divided into really two major, layers. One layer is those that serve at the will and pleasure of the president.
Okay.
He appoints them. Look, it makes total sense, and it is around the world. That layer is the president team trusted because he has a mandate to deliver.
Okay.
He has a responsibility that everything he says he would do during campaign time, that he does them. To do that, he has to rely in the ability and trust of setting that layer. So that particular layer, you will see that the president have absolute control over that he will appoint people who understand him, who know the vision, and who can help him accomplish that vision. So, I mean, around the world, you will see that when a new administration comes on, the president, the new administration will bring, if not 80 to 90% of that configuration along with him. It's normal. Okay? The second layer is the technician and the technocrat in the civil service of, structure. That you have to ensure that you maintain, regardless of political persuasion, regardless of ethnicity, regardless of religion, you have to maintain, because you know why? These are the institutional memory. These people are the core of every institution. And so, not only they have the skill set, the know-how, but most of these systems and processes, they know them. Some of them design them. So you have to. I'll give you an example right now in Ukraine, right? The nuclear plant, though Russia took it over from Ukraine, but you know who they keep in there? The Ukrainian scientist, who knows, who been managing that thing for a while. Though under very difficult circumstances, right? Might not be the best example. But I'm saying that public sector, civil servants have to be. And there are evidence to the fact that the we-are-led government have done just that by keeping, in a majority of people in the civil service.
Now, Mr. Sokan, I will open the line very shortly for some participation.
Yeah.
What does President Weah visit to the U.S. with other African president? What benefit do we accrue as a country? What do you expect after his visitation? When I spoke to the minister of information, when he had the other day, he said, President Weah will go to America. He will come back. There's another invitation to go back to America to meet Joe Biden because of the democratic credentials. What do we expect as Liberians if he goes there? What do we accrue as benefit?
First thing, look, the fact that the president, for me, is not surprising, because a summit of that bring African leaders together. Of course, he's one of the leaders in Africa, so he will be part of that. The big meeting itself. Look, why this time? For me, that was the first thing, right? Why this time? The geopolitical dictates that America move proactively now.
Okay.
Because I tell you what, if you go to Asia, you see the political position there. On the continent of America, and if you come to Europe, for example, you see the geopolitical dynamics there.
Okay.
It's a lot of things. The only continent so far that look like it's still stable, neutral, everybody trying to rush to, is Africa. The Russian foreign minister are all over the place. China and all, bilateral and all of that. So, of course, it's geopolitical positioning. So, America is saying, we've been here for a while, we haven't had this. I think it's important we need to engage. So, they got to engage in trying to figure out. Remember, I've seen some couple of things going on, and and then every now and then one country, EU met with Russia, and all that kind of thing. So, as a power broker and a global leader, of course, the continent is of interest. So, you want to begin to engage and start to have a conversation. But you can't just bring them and say, okay, whatever. So, you bring a couple of things on the table. A point of convergence, and that will serve as entry point in the engagement. So a couple of things will go, hey, Can we talk about democracy? Other issues. Those are general issues. Those are general governance. Fundamentals that. So let's take an assessment. But the key point that you're going to see evolving from there, eh, the United States administration, government, is trying to figure out how to forge a strong, trusted, reliable partnership with Africa. Whether it's economic engagement, developmental engagement, and other things. Let's go fight a fact. China has been very aggressive over the past time on the continent of Africa. Their presence is visible. Whether it's infrastructure development, economic intervention, they have been. In fact, they go to places where no one wants to go. And they pump money into there with the expectation and conditioning of the whole, the population mind. Today, on our market, you see how many people from Liberia gravitate towards China to go buy their goods. It's because of that relationship. Diplomatically, they make some good strides, appealing and attractive. Well, I tell you what, it shifts. If the demand on African continent is shifting towards Asia, of course it's a concern to the United States of America.
Now, Mr. Sokan, just in 1 minute as we leave and go to the lines. The George Weah administration is seeking a second term come 2023.
Yeah.
What are the indicators that you think this government can be elected on come 2023? Just in 1 minute, 30 seconds.
Well, I'll tell you what. Of course, for me, I will be an integral part of the campaign to making sure that he wins. I think one is that we need continuity because it matures our democracy. We thank God our former president, Strong, is here after her 2 terms, lay all the foundation. And the Weah administration is doing quite well. So I think a second term will help them to consolidate and properly transition in, and usher in a new kind of leadership. For us, 12 years, a child born then, you got a generation that still don't understand peace and all of that. The other piece is that from our practical leadership and public serving activities, it is not, for me, it's not possible or it's difficult. It's difficult for whatever you have as program to accomplish in the first term. The reason being is that first term, learning curve, understand processes, refining processes, changing processes, interacting with development partner, crystallizing your idea, selling your idea to people, and finding money for them. Those in full or in the first term, most leadership, even in developed world, organized system, is challenging.
That's how we saw the election of Emmanuel Macron.
Exactly. So the second term gives you, so you look for all the money, your idea, everything accepted in the first term, the money really starts to trickle down in the second term where you start to execute. And so I think if you give an administration a second term,
thank you.
You get more.
Mr. Sokan, thanks a lot. Let's hit out with a caller. 080-514-0960 560-560 at the number 080-514-0960 560-560. Hello, welcome. 20 seconds. Good evening. Welcome. You live. Let's hear you quickly.
Thank you for preferring me as your first caller. My name is Newton Jar, and I do join you from Plebo, Maryland County.
Let's hear from Plebo.
Thank you very much, Jara, for inviting such a very brilliant individual personality in studio this evening.
Yeah, thank you. Just go to the point. No time.
I learned a lot on the lecture. He speaks on the issue of the climate change having an effect on our country. But from my perspective, the effect that it had on our country is not balanced. Because every now and then we are hearing that it is raining, it is heavily raining in Monrovia. But as I speak to you, almost a month ago now, we haven't experienced any downpour of rain here in Tribo. So I don't know how this climate change is treating our country.
Okay, thank you. The next caller, welcome. Let's hear you quickly. Hello, welcome. Let's hear you quickly. Hello? Okay, you don't want to participate. Let me take the next caller. Hello, welcome. Hello, are you there? Let me take this caller from here. If I okay your phone, just talk as I call you up, I go to the next caller. Hello, let's hear you quickly.
Yeah, I'm putting double son of Grange County. Thank you for inviting my representative in studio.
Okay, Otis.
Yeah. And my concern, they are being drawn onto our country. Because I just from Grange there 2 days ago. Yeah, Mr. Representative,
Representative, he was a candidate. He didn't win the election, so he said he wants to contest again. So he's not representative now, please.
Okay, no problem. And you want to say, no, I accept it. So I appeal to him now, by the grace of God, 2023, when you have to win, we're begging that you see our best to our country was a very deplorable. Can you imagine someone around would have from Great to Morovia? Even the rule like entering the capital city is what you. When they say go is what you not believe that enter is what.
Okay. Thank you. He has heard that already. Thank you. Thank you so kindly. The next caller. Hello, welcome. Let's hear you quickly. Are you there? Hello?
Hello, how you doing?
I'm okay. Let's hear your name. You have 20 seconds. Oh, you gone off. Let me take the caller from the Lone Star line. Hello, welcome. You live. Hello. You gotta make it snap in no time, oh my friend. Don't you gotta hold the line for long. Hello, you live. Let's hear you. From Fish and River County, let's hear you.
Yeah, the federal has a beauty that is going to be too many things and still doing more. Some of these bills are we are part of showing up to be elected, but that's
Okay, so you want the president to be re-elected. Thank you. The next caller, let's hear you. Oh, Esfa Bobo from Fuyalofa County.
Thank you so much.
Esfa Bobo, let's say it quickly, no time.
Let me tell you how I do it, and we believe that President William was the second time. Other people had it. We believe that he has the last country what was there and we know that he will become. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Esfa Bobo. The next caller, where are you calling from? Let's hear you. What's your name? Plibo Soloken Disu, let's say you quickly.
What are we doing and almost the country now? Because every to find like such a Mr. Soviet coming out to talk about environmental. So I think at this point we all need to put ourselves together. Government should begin to prioritize issues that are having to moving in our society. This is very important. As a bicycle, another environmentalist.
Thank you. Thank you so very kindly. Let me go to this line. Hello, welcome. Let's say quickly, what's your name?
Okay, thank you, Jala. This is Joseph Komu Wablo Jr. I joined you from Sweden City, the heartbeat.
Waplo, let's say you have 20 seconds.
Thank you. Let me say kudos to the incoming and presumptive lawmaker of District Honorable Jeffrey Galsokan for the splendid deliberation on issues confronting our country and now getting into our district. Like, Jala, let me use this medium to call on our Soka attention to TN District. Mind you that we have been underrepresented in the lower house of representatives when it comes to the representation of the people's interest. What is his plan now so as the rest of the district comes to 2023?
Thank you. The next caller, you live. Let's say quickly. The man Waplo Kia. Waplo, thanks. Let's hear you. The next caller. Hello, do we have a caller there? No, he's not there. Let me take the next one. Hello, welcome.
Hello, I'm Panchi Tobe from Montreal, District number 5.
Let's say you have 20 seconds.
Yes, I want to appreciate Peter Gell, Mr. Jeremiah Galsokan this evening for the student explanation to the public on environmental issue and also the political aspect in Greenville County. I appreciate it and continue the effort as citizen of Greenville County and also as a worker at the Environmental Protection Agency, EPA. Thank you.
Thank you. The next caller is here. Hello, welcome. Let's say it quickly. Hello, you live. Let's hear you.
Okay, how you doing, Jana? This is NGSP. I'm calling from Jersey City. To the point.
The guys from Grand Judah can have taken all over my show this afternoon because one of their sons is here. Let's hear you quickly.
We want to appreciate your studio guests. You know, when a leader is speaking in studios, you can know from their speaking. Actually, since Liberia birth, what we are experiencing in the climate change sector, it is our first time for me, my first time to notice that the international community will very sponsors and see how best the climate areas of Liberia to be improved like this. So when a leader is somewhere, these are things that you can experience. So with the effort of Honorable Jeremiah Gaosoka, we know that there are a lot of things that government going to do when it comes to the climate change sector. So I want to
Thank you.
Jeremiah Gaosoka, let me continue your good work.
Thank you. The next caller is here on the Lone Star line. Hello, welcome. Let's hear you quickly.
Yeah, hello. The name is Rashid Gadi, and I'm calling from the place where
Rashi, you have 20 seconds.
Yeah, thank you. I want to appreciate your studio guest in person of Honorable Jeremiah Gaosoka for the excellent deliberation, and I want to say kudos to him. I'm listening, and let him keep the work up for the Liberian people. Thank you so much.
Thank you. The next caller, welcome. I will take 2 more calls and come to Jeremiah Sukan. Hello, welcome.
Good evening, good evening. My name is Marcos the Crown of Silva, and I join you from Bonaspan, district number 4.
From where?
Bonaspan.
Gunai Farm. Let's hear you quickly.
So I want to say thank you so much for the deliberation of Honorable Jeremiah Gaosoka. You know, if the governor of Liberia will have, or maybe if Ben Gide will have a kind of person in Jeremiah Gaosoka in the House of Representatives, our country will have a better representation.
Thank you.
The question, please, the question, sir. The question that the previous question or caller just asked, what is the next plan of action comes 2023?
Okay, for him, right? Thank you. The next caller here, quickly. You may be the last caller. Let's hear you quickly.
Thank you very much. This is Larry calling, one of the local men too. Let me say thanks.
Where you calling from?
I'm calling from Swahili, Larry calling.
Okay, like.
Let me say thanks to Jesu, our solution to the problems. You know, in other words, once the leader speaks, everybody learn. Let me always when you go to studio, you always have to educate the people. And I pray that God should also answer our prayer to come 2023.
Thank you. Let me take this final caller from this line quickly. The final call. Let me hear you quickly. What's your name? Where do you come from?
Hello, I'm Steven Simon. I'm calling you from Zulu Westgate.
Zulu Westgate, come face to face to Monrovia. 10 seconds.
I'm very delighted talking with the presumptive lawmaker of Jen District, Grand Judah County. Honorable Soka will say thank you. Your presentation this evening speak volume that you are indeed a leader that the people of Grand Judah County will now miss 2023. You're absent in the parliament right now. We only have 2 lawmakers.
Thank you, my man. I say you have 10 seconds. You want to go 20 seconds, 30 seconds? Let me come back to Jeremiah. Most of the callers are just been giving you a pat on the back. You want a pat now? I will give you 3 minutes to take your exit.
Thank you very much. So let me get to the gentleman who asked a very good question from Pribo. The question he asked is, what happened in rainfalls in Monrovia, and then they are not experiencing it? Yes, the way climate change impacts is not like one suit fit all. It's based on locations. So even in Liberia, the impact of climate change will be felt differently.
Okay.
If in Maryland at this time of the year you're supposed to be having rain and you're not, that will be one of the indicators that your region, within our whole geographical location, that there's certain movement in there that making you to have more rain. So of course our analysis of a country is that some part of the country will be wetter with more rains, and other part will be dry with long sun shining and all that stuff. So what you're experiencing, definitely that's it, because you expect rain and rain is not coming, so it's that kind of pattern. But without not going there, yes, you're experiencing the same thing. On the other gentleman that what is the plan for 2023? At this stage, I'll continue to say, once a politician is always a politician, and we operate in a political space, I am going to be factor, serious factor when it comes to president we have re-election. And where better place that I can do that? I mean, not in Monserrato, though I'm in Monserrato. I have a base and I have reliable.
Going by the chair?
I have a reliable base, and I have people who will know each other, we know how to work. And look, that's the play my neighbor string spirit. We're not going to be muscled, we're not going to be intimidated. And the fact that maybe something didn't happen yesterday doesn't mean it will not happen. So I'm emphatic when it comes to this. I'm going to be a very serious factor, and we will